What's up, Geminites? It's your boy GemMint. Today we're going to talk about what the differences are between CGC and CBCS, so stay tuned. Alright, a lot of you guys who watch my channel are newer to collecting, and you guys ask questions. What's CGC? What is CBCS? What is PGX? And I'm going to explain to you the differences and why some are more sought after than others. If you're really new, these are third-party comic book grading companies. You send your books to these companies, they grade them, they encapsulate them in inner laminate well with a hard plastic case. They have a label that assigns its condition or its grade. It gives you the issue, the year it was published, the creators, any key notes about the book, if there's been a signature, if there's been restoration, and so on. So there's a few different companies that offer the services. CGC is the first one. CGC changed the game when it comes to comic books. If it wasn't for CGC, with all these variants and multiple covers and all this crap going on, it would be another 90s crash. But they changed the game because they gave you another reason to buy and invest into comics. They want to chase the high grade. They want to chase the low census numbers, which we'll talk about later. And it just added a whole nother aspect to collecting, buying, and selling comic books. So with that, they're the most reputable, they're the most well-known. The biggest benefit, I think, to CGC, besides all that, is that they have a census, and they track every book that they grade in every grade ever. So you can actually get an idea of how rare a book is by going to the CGC census and seeing how many are out there. Some books can be rare because there's only a couple of them in 9.8s. Some of them there's hardly any graded at all. Some of them have 5,000 copies graded and it shouldn't be worth shit like New Mutants 98, but it still is because there's such a demand for the character. So that census is a huge selling point when it comes to buying and selling comics. Rarity is what it's all about in any collectible hobby. I'll just show a couple of quick CGC books. This is the second generation CGC label. The old one was blue like this, but it had like a big white square, and it just wasn't as aesthetically pleasing. But you can see this one is Spider-Man 24, Marvel Comics, July 1992. It says that it was Howard Mackey's story, Larry Alexander and Andrew Pepoy art, Mark Bagley and Al Milgrom cover. You can see here that it says it's Demo Goblin vs. Hobgoblin, that it's Infinity War crossover, it's the first appearance of Doppelganger, and is graded at a 9.8, which CGC also pioneered. Before CGC, your condition were good, fine, very fine, mint, near mint, all those kind of things. A 9.8 is considered near mint / mint. Then 9.9s are mint and 10s are GemMint's, which both are very rare. Then they recently came out with this. This is their most current label, which they made the grade much bigger. They put the page quality under the grade as opposed to underneath the title. They even added more on the back as far as the serial number, which is very helpful because you can look up if it's a legitimate slab that you're buying off eBay or whatever. This is Fantastic Four Annual 6, the first appearance of Annihilus. There were some problems with this case when it came out, but that's not really what this video is about. Anyway, these are CGC graded comic books. They're called slabs as a slang term. And they are the most sought after graded comic books out there, period. Now, a lot of people will ask, what about CBCS? Is CBCS a reputable company? And the answer is yes. CBCS was founded by Steve Borak, who also was a founder of CGC. He is a very reputable name in the hobby, and it's a reputable company. The problem with CBCS is that they don't have a census. That's a huge drawback. You can't get an idea of how many graded books there are. And this same book with a CBCS slab will sell for less money than if it was a CGC slab. Even though it's the same book in the same condition, their grading tactics are very similar. They're very similar in grading the same book, coming back the same grade, but they just don't sell for as much. They're just not as sought after by collectors, which is why I don't use them. That's the only reason why. And I don't really love their labels. I think that CGC still has the most aesthetically pleasing labels out of all of the comic book grading companies, and until CBS can beat them, get their census set up, and start selling for comparable prices, they're always going to be number two, and I'm just not going to deal with them. They're reputable, they're good, but Those are just the facts. CBCS also has a one-up on CGC though, because they've partnered with Beckett and they use their signature verification program so you can get a book authenticated even though they didn't have a CBCS witness, which CGC doesn't do. If they don't have a witness to observe that signature, you won't get a signature series label. You'll get a green qualified label. CBCS, they have witnesses. You could get a signature series label, or you could get a verified signature, which to me is more important for somebody that's passed on, like to verify a Jack Kirby sig, or verify even like a Herb Trimpe or Len Wein, or even a Stan Lee now. So I think that's a cool service, but I think it's kind of lame to have like a McFarlane verified signature, because you can so easily get certified witnessed signature from Todd McFarlane. Now, PGX, Vault, all those other companies, you're getting into like the next level tier down. If I'm not dealing with CBCS because of those factors that I mentioned, I'm definitely not going to mess with PGX and Vault, because they're even less sought after. And PGX has a long history of getting into controversial situations. There's been a lot of mumblings about overgrading books, grading their own books and selling them on eBay, buying restored CGC books and grading them as unrestored and selling them on eBay, and a lot of questionable activity. I don't know if they did or they didn't. I don't care. If PGX books started selling more than CGC books, I would use them right away. But they just don't. So really, that's the only reason why I don't use them. You can't give away a PGX book. And if you're new to the game and collecting, I would recommend to only stick with CGC until these other companies start selling for comparable prices. CGC is the best bet. So I hope that sheds some light on the differences between these big grading companies. I know a lot of people are requesting to make a video on how to submit books to CGC, and we might make that. I mean, it's a very simple process. If you go to their website, cgccomics.com, you basically set up an account, you print out a form, you fill it out based on the books that you're sending in, you mail your books to Sarasota, Florida, and in a few months or whatever, they'll send them back graded. It ends up being like, it was like $17 a book, but the more books you send, the shipping gets spread out over the books and the $5 invoice fee, and it ends up becoming like $10 a book if you're sending 10 or more, something like that. But I recommend to send all your books to get pressed, which I talked about with Mike DeCellis the other day. So I would really send all my books to Mike, let him press them. He'll pass on his 20% savings to you, and he'll send them to CGC. They'll grade them. It'll come back to you. You press them. You dry clean them. You got the highest grade possible out of those books. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Make sure to hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any of these videos, which can be very helpful if you're newer to collecting, or you might have been in the game for a long time and gone away and came back and now everything's different. So hopefully these are helpful. If you're already subscribed and you've been rocking with me for a minute, and if you want to support the channel, hit that join button next to the subscribe button under the video, and you can join at $1.99 a month, $4.99 a month, $9.99 a month for all different levels of perks with a little gem badge next to your name. If you have any questions about that, hit me below. Thanks for watching. You guys stay minty fresh. Peace.